Okay, even though I've given a prediction on Jones and Stipe fighting each other, I did say Jon Jones can beat Stipe Miocic, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did actually beat him. That was just a prediction. Here's how Jon Jones would beat Stipe if they fought. First off, Jon Jones usually has a reach advantage. He's always had a reach advantage over everybody he's fought. So if he's gonna move up to heavyweight for the first time, he needs to continue to use that to his advantage. He doesn't want to get into clinch with Stipe. He needs to avoid that, keep his distance. He needs to use some jabs, use those kicks that he used to use to the shin, to the leg, to the thigh. Mix it up too. Don't be too predictable when you fight Stipe. Stipe is pretty predictable how he fights, even though he's tough to deal with. Jon Jones, on the other hand, I think he has a superior skill set in terms of an overall mixed martial artist. So if he does that right, he needs to go for at least, if he can secure at least 2 to 3 takedowns in this fight and control the bottom. I doubt he'd be able to hold Stipe down just because Stipe is such a big guy, and he's not going to be used to fighting somebody in a real fight who's that big. You know, that'll be a disadvantage. But if he can at least get 2 to 3 takedowns, he can do that. That'll help him in this fight. And if he can, go for submissions. Clearly, his wrestling is better than Stipe's. Clearly, he can grapple better than Stipe. And let's not forget, Jon Jones has the most submission wins in UFC light heavyweight history. So you imagine he's going to try to use that to his advantage as well. I think his talent advantage will also include the grappling and submission game. I'm not saying he will submit Stipe if he fights him. It's definitely a possibility. You know, he submitted Vitor Belfort before. He choked Machida unconscious. I know these are lighter guys, but clearly he can submit guys if he needs to. So I definitely wouldn't put that out of the way. And even though I think he's capable in terms of his skill set of knocking out or TKOing Stipe, I wouldn't say he's going to knock him out if I had to decide, but he can. So if he uses his tools right, he distances himself when fighting Stipe in the stand-up department, and he manages to secure at least 2 to 3. I say 2 to 3 because realistically, a guy like Stipe, who's probably going to be 250, 260 when they fight each other, you're not going to be able to take him down 10, 11 times. It just doesn't happen unless you're Cain Velasquez, you know, the level of wrestling he brings. But if Jones can do that, which he can, and get the dominant position on the ground and on the feet, and again, go for submissions. I don't know if they really score at submission attempts, but if you're clearly going for submissions, you're making Stipe have to work harder off his back, or even in the clinch, or whatever you want to do. You know, you're going to eventually tire him out to where he can't finish the fight. So if Jon Jones wins this fight, it'll be a decision. 49, 46, 48, 47 range. I don't think it'll be 50, 45. It won't be one-sided with Stipe. You know, and then again, the disadvantages such as dealing with a bigger man and dealing with power that a heavyweight has that a light heavyweight doesn't have will be harder for, I think, Jones to adjust to in terms of beating him in an easy fight. It won't be easy, but he can beat him, and that's how he'll have to do it. Again, 2 to 3 takedowns, keeping his distance on the feet, using the kicks to the thigh, to the shin area that he always used to do. Don't go for anything too crazy with the spinning back elbows and fists, because the thing is, Jon Jones is good at that, but if he were to move funny or get caught, he might get knocked out or dropped and then give Stipe an advantage to follow up with some strikes while he's groggy and get finished. So just keep your attacks basic as possible. Keep everything in front of you. Keep your distance. Get at least 2 or 3 takedowns so that we can get some points. Go for submissions when you take Stipe down. Don't expect to hold him down the whole time. That ain't going to happen. He's not a smaller fighter than you. So, but if he does all those things right and he doesn't stay in front of Stipe, if he's constantly moving too, he can beat Stipe Miocic and he can be an interim UFC heavyweight champion. And maybe, just maybe, he can beat Francis or Cyril or Derek Lewis or all these other talented heavyweights like Curtis Blades just because of his talent and his determination to win fights. So that'll keep him in this fight as well. But he can beat Stipe. But if he's going to do it, these are the ways he has to do it. Thank you. And honestly, I'm a Jon Jones fan. I've actually missed him fighting for the last 2 years as he hasn't fought. But hopefully he does. I'd love to see him fight again, man, whether it's heavyweight or light heavyweight. Miss you, man.